Hey now, it's Aunt Tia from Aunt Tia's backyard. And it got warm enough for the snow to start actually melting significantly. So Aunt Tia had to come out here and see what I can see. Fact of the matter is, it's cold out here. And it's liable to get colder and it might snow again. But this is the closest I've gotten to spring in a mighty long time. So I came out to see what I could see. Because I'm ready for spring, even though it's not ready for me just yet. Now, one thing I did not think about last year is that these containers would collect water and freeze. Like my little fruit trees actually have frozen water on top of the soil. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. I wonder what kind of problems that's going to cause me. I just don't know. But we're going to find out, aren't we? Yes, indeed, we will find out. Here we are. The first tomato bed. My husband made me some extra beds last year. They're kind of narrow because my reach is short. And they're made out of these cinder, well, not really cinder, cement blocks is what they are. There's no cinder ash or whatever in them. But they're made out of these cement blocks. And my intent initially was to fill all of these holes and grow something in every hole. However, we might be moving. And I have every intention of taking all my stuff with me if we move. And the idea of trying to figure out how to move this with all of those holes filled with dirt is just not something I'm prepared to do. So I might have to wait on that till next year, even though I had a plan for this year. But we will see. So, yep, this is my first bed. This cattle panel runs the length of the bed. Last year I did tomatoes on this side, and on this side I did eggplants and peppers. I actually didn't have this up in the spring last year, so this is my first year thinking about what to do with it. I'm thinking peas. And then maybe some spinach down here on the bottom. You let me know what you think about that. And I have another bed right here that's just like that one. Same length, cattle paddle down the middle. And I did the same thing with the tomatoes on one side and peppers and eggplants on the other side. Now, this is interesting, because this is a hot mess. This is the mint that I did not get to last year, and some of it is green. It's like, it can't possibly still be green from last year. Is it really trying to show out and do something right now because it got warmer? I don't know. But in the next couple of weeks, I got to come out here and clear that out. Along with my little bucket area here. A couple of weeks ago, my husband actually saw Charlie run up one of these T-posts. Charlie is the squirrel. We call all the squirrels Charlie. That's a story for another time. But Charlie ran up the T-post, hopped down on the bucket, and was just running around in here to see what he could get. And my husband last year was just really convinced that Charlie could not possibly get in here. But I had a couple of tomatoes with bites out of them that told me that Charlie was having his way in my garden space. And so Charlie proved that to him the other day. So I got to come up with a plan for Charlie. I'm going to grow some real hot peppers and see how he feels about that. Okay, here's some shorter beds that I have. Again, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I really do want to fill those holes and grow something, but the idea of trying to maneuver all of that to move it somewhere is just, that's way too much. I can't do it. So I don't think I'm gonna do it. It's disappointing, but I'm not trying to have to do all of that kind of work. So at any rate, this is one of my cattle panel arches. And I'm gonna, on one of these cattle panel arches, I've got like, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. On one of them, I'm gonna grow some butterfly peas. I think they're blue butterfly peas. Got them from Starduster 2. And I'm gonna grow them, and I'm sure they're gonna produce some wonderful things for me to eat and drink and all that stuff, but I'm just real excited about the idea of seeing it. I think it'll make a pretty, just some pretty scenery for me to just sit and relax in the summertime so I can chill. Last year, I grew squash on this one. And on this one closest to me. And on this arch right here, I grew pole beans. And the pole beans did wonderful. And the squash did kind of all right. I didn't do what I should have done in terms of making sure what was vining and what was bush. So I ended up wrestling with some things that were really unnecessary had I done my research up front. The doggone zucchini was just like, I'm not going up the trellis and I'm just not going to do it. So just stop. And I didn't get the zucchini the first, the easiest garden plant to grow. Most people have so much zucchini, they're trying to figure out what to do with it. I didn't even get one because my zucchini plant was like, I am not going up the trellis. On this one, what was on this one? Watermelon. I did watermelon on here. I think they were Crimson Sweet. I think they were Crimson Sweet. They got in the ground kind of late, but they did well enough that I think if they get in the ground early enough, I think they'll be okay. Now over here, on this arch, I did pumpkins. And I know you like pumpkins. Yeah, that's what I did. I did pumpkins. Why? Because I had pumpkin plants. I hit a lick at the nursery and they gave me pumpkin plants and I just felt compelled to stick them in the ground. I wasn't even looking for pumpkins. And I probably won't do that again this year, but since I had them, I don't know why I felt like they had to just go in the ground. I could have just left them where they were, but I just couldn't do it. On this arch, we had sugar baby watermelons, some cantaloupes that turned out pretty good, and something else. Tigger. I think I had a Tigger melon that didn't do too well, and a Kajari melon that tried its best, but it was struggling. It didn't do too well either. Now, the truth of the matter is that when the husband told me he was going to expand my garden for me, I got carried away. I had too much stuff. I overplanted. So some of the stuff that didn't do great, on top of going into the ground late, it's probably because some of it just didn't have enough space because I went to cutting up and putting too many things in the ground at one time. However, this trellis did great. Actually, I still overplanted and some of the stuff didn't come up. But I had more cucumbers than I knew what to do with on this trellis. And some African horned melons that took a long time to take off. But once they did, they were giving me some stuff pretty good, but my season isn't long enough for them to keep going. So I'm probably going to start some of those in a couple of weeks. Get them in the ground earlier and see what I can do. Right here, these poor babies that need to be cared for by somebody who loves them better than I did. These are some hibiscus trees. Husband went to the big box store and found them there on sale and was like, my wife would probably like these. And I'm actually afraid of using them for tea because I'm looking at them like they're full grown and I don't know what anybody put on them. So I didn't do anything with them last year. I tried to see if I could get away with having them outside of my fenced in garden area. The deer showed out. I put one out there as a test. I came out the next day, my tree was on its side. It had been snatched out of the pot and it was bare naked. I was like, Jesus, Bambi has violated my hibiscus. So these are my elevated beds. Irrigation tubing going every which way. I really didn't think it could stand to be out here over the winter. But the husband said he thought it would be all right. And it looks like it was all right. I got to get to planning in terms of what I'm going to put out here. Spring used to be long enough for you to think you could get a real good crop of something, but now it's like it goes by in a matter of a few weeks. So whatever I'm going to do, I better get busy doing. Maybe I should start taking the tops off of my barrels to collect my rainwater as well. At any rate, this is the space I'm working with. Again, we probably will be moving soon, so I'm not keen on the idea of expanding it right now or filling those holes. But he said he'll figure out a way to move everything else, so I guess that's all I can ask for. And I'm pretty sure if we do move, it won't be during the spring, so I'm going to get me a spring crop of something out here. And we'll figure out the summer as time goes on. If y'all got any ideas for me, leave them down in the comments. See y'all in the next one.